page. Welcome if this is the first reading vlog you are seeing from me. I have had a cozy couple of hours reading Cross today. I did start this last week, but we are just trying to finish this off today. This is on my August TBR. It is the 5th book in the Never After series. In my TBR video I said this was the 3rd book, but I got them in a set, and either they were in the set in the wrong order or I put them on my shelf in the wrong order, because I had this one as the 3rd one, but it's not. It's the 5th one according to Goodreads, and this is a Hunchback of Notre Dame dark contemporary romance following our main character Amaya and a priest named Father Cade. It is very dark, it is very silly. I can't think about it too much because if I do then it's just gonna be bad. You really have to take these books at face value to find them good and just kind of maintain suspension of disbelief so that they work. But if you're in the mood for that, then these are really fun books. I have about 100 pages left of this to go, so that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the night. It is a Monday afternoon and yeah, we have a nice week of reading ahead of us. So if you like reading vlogs, then do please feel free to subscribe because I post them weekly and I'm always vlogging my reading. And yeah, hopefully it's just gonna be a cozy week of like mood reads and probably dark romances. That's just really what I'm in the mood for right now. I'm probably just gonna sit and try to finish, well not finish, but read a bit more of the 100 pages I have left. Hopefully I finish it, but if I don't then it's not an issue, it's fine. I'm having just a very chilled, cozy day of reading and catching up on some content creation stuff, and yeah, I'm just gonna sit and read this some more and I'll see you guys when I'm a little bit more awake. So I finished Crossed. Again, I really enjoyed this. I don't know if it's just because I'm so in the mood for it. I found Twisted and Crossed to be like some of the best of the series, and I'm looking forward to reading Wretched, which is the last book in the Never After series, before I like complete it. I think there's still more being announced, but like complete it like up to date. Oh, the Wizard of Oz. This is a Wizard of Oz retelling. But I was considering starting the run in the Holly Library and continuing with my physical TBR. That's kind of what I should be doing anyway. But I think I am gonna read something on Kindle Unlimited. I've read a lot of dark romances and now I'm kind of in the mood for like just a Kindle Unlimited contemporary romance of some kind. It could be from my TBR, it could be from my like KU like radar list. I've made a list of all the KU books that I see that are like kind of on my radar so I don't lose track of any, and it could be something from that. It could just be something that I find, but I just want something quite light and cozy, and obviously dark romance isn't really gonna do that for me. So yeah, probably not gonna pick up the run in the Holly Library next, but I will let you know when I find whatever it is I am looking for to read, because I feel like I'm in a specific mood. I just can't quite place what it is I'm in the mood for, but I'm sure I will find it on Kindle Unlimited because it is just a treasure trove of books. Kindle Unlimited is probably my favourite purchase. It is always worth it to me. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I will have to let you know once I find whatever it is I'm reading next. So the book that I chose was actually a series that I thought I was gonna kind of DNF, where I wasn't keen on continuing anytime soon, but that is Make You Mine, book 3 in the Honey Mountain series by Laura Pavlov. I've read the first 2 books in this small town romance series. They were good, they were fine. Book 1 wasn't really my kind of jam, but book 2 was really good. It was like a second chance Friends to Lovers kind of sitch, and I don't really like Friends to Lovers, but that one, like, I enjoyed it, it was fine. And I wasn't necessarily keen continuing with this series anytime soon. Like, it just didn't feel particularly special or addictive to me. I was actually going to try the Cottonwood Cove series by Laura Pavlov. Some of the books in that series just kind of grabbed me a bit more, but then I actually read the blurb for book 3, and it's a single dad age gap nanny romance where our male main character is a firefighter and he's like a family friend, and there's like 10 years between him and the love interest, and she's nannying for him as she's just finished college, and she knows she wants to write but she needs to do something in the meantime. And this book is really sweet. I'm having a really good time with it. I've read 50% in the past like couple hours, and I genuinely think I can get to like 80-90% of the way through this book tonight because it's just so easy to read. I do think Jace, like I was thinking that like Jace, our male like main character needed to get off his high horse a little bit, because a lot of his reasoning for not wanting to get with Ashlyn, the female main character, is like kind of the age gap, but also that he just doesn't feel like he's good enough for her. He feels like he's got too much baggage because he's a lot older and has gone through some crap, and she's, you know, like fresh out of college, hasn't really experienced much, and he just feels like he's not good enough for her. And I was kind of like, it's a good reason, but I was kind of getting bored of him kind of saying it over and over again, especially when Ashlyn has said so many times that she doesn't really care, she doesn't see it that way, and they already know that they're attracted to each other. But then Laura Pavlov introduced another element to keep them apart, and wow is it good, and wow has it really ramped up the stakes to this story. And I think this is the best one in the series so far. It's definitely the best Laura Pavlov book that I've read. And I am very intrigued by the story, because that was honestly like writing genius. Like, just as I was getting bored of the thing that was keeping them apart, something else was introduced to keep them apart, and it was so good. And now I am so excited to sit here and read for the rest of this evening. So it is Tuesday after work now. I am looking an absolute state. I desperately need to wash my hair. I am literally like running the bath now, but whilst that runs, I'm just going to update you on Make You Mine by Laura Pavlov, book 3 in the Honey Mountain series. I read the entire book last night. The entire 100% of this book got read last night. It was so fast paced and easy to read. I think it was quite a short book anyway, but it was just so easy to fly through, and this was by far like the best of the Honey Mountain series so far. It has actually made me really feel something towards the Honey Mountain series and Laura Pavlov's writing. Like, I actually feel this real desire to continue with the series now and try some more of Laura Pavlov's series, because I really saw like what a good writer she could be and what a good storyteller she could be in this book. It really came across. I will also say that this was quite a romantic book. Like, it did have spicy scenes in it, but for a single dad age gap like romance with like a firefighter, believe it or not, this is not the first one of these that I have read. It's kind of a popular niche of small town romances are single dad, like nanny age gap romances that involve one of them being a firefighter. I don't know why this is a thing that everybody seems to love, but it's not the first book that I've read of this. But this one wasn't particularly spicy. Like, it did have spice in it, but overall the book felt quite romantic and relationship driven over spice, because we didn't get a lot of it for how long of the book these two were together. I really enjoyed this. I actually ended up giving it 4 stars, which was nice after the very long run of like 3-star books that I have had. I was getting really sick of giving books 3 stars, to be honest, so it was nice to have a 4-star, but I really enjoyed that. I mean, just the fact that I read it in one evening is probably kind of clue enough of how much I enjoyed it and how easy it was to read, and it was just so fast paced. And I even said in my like vlog update last night, like, I thought it was gonna get boring and I thought I was gonna get sick of it, and then such an interesting like plot device to keep them apart was introduced, and it really played a big role in how the rest of the story played out, and I really enjoyed it. There is a third act conflict, but it's not miscommunication driven. So if you're someone who really doesn't want miscommunication, this book is an excellent example of how you can have kind of plot and drama in that third act without it necessarily being directly between our main characters or being like a miscommunication. But I have now started the run in the Holy Library. I am keeping up the momentum. This is a Beauty and the Beast romantasy retelling about our main character, and she breaks into a library and then realizes that a monster actually owns it, and she's just broken the peace treaty between humans and monsters, so now she has to work for him and kind of discover things about herself. In the meantime, I started this on my lunch break. I am 18 pages of the way into this, and it's actually kind of good. There's a lot more world building to it than I expected. I don't know, I was kind of expecting this to feel very like surface level. I had such a bad time with Law of the Wilds that I am getting a little bit nervous of the traditionally published romantasies, because I'm like, is it actually going to be a romantasy though? But this one is really good so far. Like 18 pages in, I am actually really enjoying this, and it feels like it has the makings of a book that I could really enjoy. So, well, I'll let you know how I'm finding this as the evening goes on. As I said, like, need to wash my hair and stuff. then I have some YouTube stuff, some editing stuff to do, but there will hopefully still be plenty of time for reading this evening, and I will catch up with you when I look a lot less messy. I only managed to read about 30 pages of this yesterday, and I'll tell you how we went from reading 100% of a book on Monday to only reading 30 pages yesterday, and that is because I found a new cozy game to play yesterday, and I downloaded it and I played it for hours. It's called Good Pizza, Great Pizza. It's like a pizzeria simulation kind of thing. If anyone's played the Papa's games, like particularly Papa's Pizzeria, this game feels like that, but it's a version of that essentially that I can play on Steam on my Mac. So we love that because I can't play the Papa's games on Mac. I downloaded Freezeria on Jack's laptop and I play that occasionally. And I haven't completed that game, but I've gotten so close to completing it that it's losing a little bit of its fun, because it's just a lot of like the same old, but Good Pizza, Great Pizza has so much to do on it, it seems, and I am absolutely loving it. So I'm gonna try and get to page like 150 maybe, and then play Good Pizza, Great Pizza. I'm gonna have to bargain with myself to read all week now that I have found this game. So let that be a warning to you. The Good Pizza, Great Pizza is an amazing, cozy game, but it will take over your entire life and you won't read, so, you know, choose carefully. I kind of have lost a little bit of interest in this book, but only because I want the game so badly, and I haven't reached the romance aspects of this book, which are what are really gonna like grab me and draw me in and make me obsessed with this if they're good. So because it's just a lot of setting up the plot and world building and fantasy elements right now, when I'm in a mood to game, it's kind of hard to push through that because it's not as fun. I'm hoping if I push through to like page 150 before I let myself play the game, I will like reach a point where I'm excited about this book, excited about what's happening in the romance and just invested, and then it won't feel so difficult to read. But yeah, I'm on a weird schedule this week as well because I took some annual leave. Like I just feel so out of my routine and it's not really helping with how much I'm reading, so there's that too. But yeah, this is I feel like this feels like a very disjointed blog, but hopefully I will be able to give you another update this evening. Fingers crossed. The 150 page mark. I made it to page 164 of The Wren and the Holly Library last night. I was right, this book gets quite addictive once you actually get to the romance of this book. If you like heist novels, then I think you will like this because it's essentially about a street thief who is helping a monster pull off this massive heist in return for a hell of a lot of money and information, because this monster believes that she has magical powers, and so she wants to try to get to the bottom of this, and they kind of end up training together. He wants to kind of ensure that she doesn't die because it's going to be like the hardest heist she's ever had to do, with like stealing from a lot of magical beings. So they're training together. He's taking her to like balls to like test her training. This has one of my favorite like micro tropes, which is where going to be investigating a room, but oops, someone's coming, so let's make out and like kiss for the first time so that they think we're just hooking up in here and not looking around. And that's just one of my favorite ways to like build some like heat and chemistry and tension into the relationship. This like, oh my god, it was just for show and it was just to try and get away with this, but actually we're kissing and it's really good. So I am kind of obsessed with this. I will be reading plenty more of this today. K.A. Lind. This book's kind of slapping and I am very excited to see how this wraps up, and I feel like it's gonna wrap up in a very unsatisfying way and make me like beg for a sequel. I don't know if this has a sequel, but I feel like most romanticises do. I'm quite scared, I'm not gonna lie. If it has an ending like Nectar of the Wicked, I will just simply cease to exist. But I am really enjoying this. I think this is like a 4-star so far, so I'll let you know when I have an update. It's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but it is dark and rainy and very like autumnal nighttime cozies right now, and so I have spent my entire break reading The Wren in the Holly Library. I am now on page 246. This book is really quite addictive once like the heist kicks off and the romance elements like kick off. It's just very easy to read, and I kind of can't work out what's gonna happen. I really like Graves. Okay, I kind of want Graves to be endgame, but I am a little bit scared that Graves is not gonna turn out to be who we think to be that good of a guy. I feel like there's hints, and like I just cannot predict where this is going. Like, is Graves endgame or is he not? I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared because I really like him. We'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, this book's just enjoyable. I find the heist really enjoyable. I would be intrigued to see what this is building for future books if this is a series. I still haven't looked it up to see if it is. But yeah, if this is going to have sequel, what is the heist setting up? There to be actual plot after the heist and this book is over. But for a first book, if it is one, the heist is working really well. It's really enjoyable. It's very intriguing. It's leading them on so many very fun adventures that I just love to read about in a first book. Like it doesn't have to be so deep and intense straight away, and it's nice to read them like going to like little balls and having all this like spicy tension at these balls, or going on like reconnaissance missions and dressing all in black. And I don't know, I really am liking the setup to this book. I'm just really nervous about who is good and who is bad, because this book does a really good job of introducing the multiple different sides in this war, but is really good at keeping you in the dark about who is good and who is bad. And obviously that makes it very realistic, because there is no good and bad side really in a real life war, but you don't know who you should be rooting for, who actually has our main character's best interests at heart. And like, yeah, I'm confused, but I'm loving the confusion, and this book is so much better than I like ever anticipated it being. Like, I had really high hopes that the romance in this would slap. I've been actually really quite blown away by the fantasy of it, because it's so well written and developed, and it's like an urban fantasy. The author has done so much research into New York. So many little like historical tidbits are brought up in this book, like about New York and the architecture of the city. And yeah, it's like this kind of urban fantasy New York setting with the magic and monsters, and yeah, it's genuinely enjoyable and pleasant time. So I'm hoping to get this finished this week. I'm reading it quite slowly, but I feel like the fact that I'm reading it slowly is increasing my enjoyment, but it doesn't read very fast. The writing is kind of small. I do feel like I'm having to be very engaged in this book to keep track of what's going on. Like, it's definitely not like the most intense like fantasy in the world, but I also have found that my speed has been quite slower to kind of get through this at a pace that I actually find enjoyable. So hopefully we'll still finish it this week. I have a nice long evening of reading ahead of me, but for now I've got to get back to work. Oh my god, okay, I am sweaty because I just took a bath straight from hell. I've had a little bit of a self-care evening, to like, honestly. I like haven't been feeling that like confident lately. Like, I've just been feeling like really slobby and I don't know, just a bit like down on myself lately. So I finished work today. I did like a little home workout. I did some abs and some cardio and some stretching to like focus on just moving because it feels good rather than anything else. I don't actually know if I've talked about this before. Let me sit and get comfortable. Yeah, when I was at uni, I just had a more active lifestyle, and since working from home, I just don't really have that lifestyle anymore. I have a desk job, and then booktube and bookstagram and writing, and those hobbies don't really require a lot of movement either. So I went from doing like a 40-minute walk, like just to get to the train station every morning to go to uni, or working in hospitality and like running around being on my feet all day, to sitting for pretty much like the entirety of the day, and it's just making me feel a bit like shit. And I got into a really good routine of exercising like earlier this year. I was going every single weekday. It was really nice, and then fell out of that habit, and now I just can't get myself back into it. So I got myself to do an at-home workout because the gym feels a little bit too intimidating right now. So did a little home workout and just kind of did like fun cardio and then a little abs and then just stretching for movement and flexibility. And because I'm sat at my desk all day and I just kind of, it gets to the end of the day and I just feel so like hunched. So that was nice and I really enjoyed that. And that was my form of like self-care. And then I went and like took a bath and got myself clean and smelling nice and used some like fancy bubble baths and things like that, like just to try and boost my mood a little bit. I think I kind of feel like I need to be a little bit stricter with myself about taking care of myself. Like sometimes I'm just really lazy and that can be really fun. Like most of the time all I want to do is finish work and read or finish work and game. And sometimes it's fun to let myself do that, but also I think I need to acknowledge that sometimes I might need to not do the things that are enjoyable and I might have to force myself to work out, or I might have to force myself to get up earlier in the morning and actually get properly dressed and do my hair so that I can feel more human and so that my weeks don't just feel like I am some little like gremlin just like looking like some troll like at my desk, just my whole life is just feeling slobby and working. Like I'm not making any sense, but basically I need to be a little bit stricter with myself about actually getting dressed and making myself feel nice and moving a bit more in my day. I'm never gonna have the amount of movement in my day that I used to have. Like that's fine, that is just a side effect of working full-time at an office job. I can still like move more than I am now, that's for sure. So that's hopefully going to be a focus of the rest of the year as well. And now that I've done that, I actually can read the rest or another hopefully big chunk of the Wren in the Holly library. It's like got even more complicated since the last time I spoke to you. This heist is no longer just our main character being paid for this heist job. She, during her reconnaissance, has like seen something that has gotten her like very emotionally invested in the outcome of heist and this project, but it's also made me even more unsure of who she should trust and what's going on. And I know that at the end of the story, when I know everything about the story, I'm gonna look back and think like, oh my god, it's so fun and amazing that I'm reading this for the first time and I don't know the answers. But like right now I'm just so confused. I'm gonna put some booktube on in the background and catch up on some videos I've been missing lately, and yeah, just do some reading for the rest of the evening. Yeah, honestly kind of a chilled night. Jack's gonna be home pretty late tonight, which means more reading time for me, and yeah, it's just going to be a very chilled out evening. I got to page 330 and I'm pretty much reaching like the climax of this book now. We are like about to pull off this heist. I assume something is probably going to go wrong because it's a book. It's probably not going to be as straightforward as they planned it to be, but I honestly just don't have the energy or the mindset for some kind of like intense ending right now. So I'm going to stop reading for the night and play my game. I have maybe 50 pages left to read, so I can just read that tomorrow and kind of end the week with this book. I will still have finished 3 books this week, so I don't really feel too much pressure to get this finished tonight. And as I said, like I just don't feel like I am in the mindset for like some super intense fantasy heist novel climax. At least with romance, you like always know what you're gonna get, but this requires actual brain power and it's probably going to stress me out a little bit because I really care about these characters and I'm really scared about someone double crossing something, you know, like because I don't know who to trust. I feel very stressed about where the ending of this book is going to go, and I just don't feel like I have the mindset for that now. So I'm gonna put my all-time favorite comfort show on of Modern Family and I'm gonna play Good Pizza Great Pizza for the rest of the evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow to finish this book. Okay, guys, I finished the Wren in the Holly library and this genuinely has the potential to be like a favourite romantasy. The way this story is going, I genuinely feel like stress because I just feel like this is going to break my heart. Like I feel like this genuinely has potential to be like reading the next like huge romantasy series in real time, which never happens to me, and this is just so insanely good. I've spent this whole time stressed because I didn't know how it was gonna end, or like who was gonna be the good guy and who was gonna be the bad guy, and I still don't know. It's still very unclear. I am still very unclear on who is the good guy and who is the bad guy and who is endgame, and that stress is not pleasant for me, but is also what is making me feel like this could be one of my like all-time favorite series when it's like at the end and I know. So I am giving this, I don't even know what to give it. My instinct is 4 stars, but I feel like it is more of a 4.5. This book in particular doesn't have that like 5-star feeling. Just the way it's setting everything up makes me feel like the vibe as a whole could be a 5-star, but I feel like this particular book was like a 4.5 stars for me. I am so eager to get my hands on the next book, and yeah, if you haven't read this yet, you need to, because this is like one of the best romanticises that I've read in a while. It's also one of the best like book ones in a romantasy that I've read in a while, and I know that I gave Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields 5 stars, but that was like the romance was a 5 stars, the addiction to that book made it a 5 stars, but this genuinely has like some serious plot to it. Like this is getting a 4.5 stars based on the romance was very well done. I don't know who to trust or who is the good or bad guy in this, who is endgame in this, but it's also getting a 4.5 stars because the plot is genuinely interesting and genuinely clever. So it's a heist novel, but it's also kind of set against the backdrop of like folklore, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I really don't want to say too much, because I think discovering this as you read and in real time makes this book so good. But it was so cleverly thought out, and the fantasy elements were like chef's kiss as well. I'm glad I took my time with this one because I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the next book in this series because it's gonna slay, and I'm telling you guys now that this is gonna be such a hyped series. At some point in the future, this romantasy is gonna start getting a load of attention, and there's gonna be a hype train for this. I can just tell. This is so good. So that kind of wraps up another week of reading. I started the week out really strong by finishing Crossed and then reading an entire book on Monday, but I was on annual leave, so nobody panic. And then like as we can see, like once I was no longer on annual leave, like it took me 5 days to finish like this one book after that. So my reading rates they shift quite drastically. I think this is just a good example. This last week has just been a really good example of like Monday I was straight out the gate finishing 2 books in that one day, and then it's taken me 5 days after that to finish this book. And like it was a romantasy, but it wasn't the biggest in the world. It was under 400 pages, so it probably shouldn't have taken me 5 days to read it, but it's just kind of what being a reader is, and I'm really glad that I took my time with this book. I think it made it more fun to just read it at my own pace and not feel stressed about finishing it. If anything, I would say reading the 2 books on the Monday really took like any kind of pressure off the rest of the week, because I knew that I'd already finished books in the week to talk about. But yeah, it's kind of been a weird week, but I'm gonna wrap up this vlog now and probably go play more Good Pizza Great Pizza because I am obsessed. If you guys enjoyed this vlog and you would like to see next week's vlog or just more vlogs from me in the future, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below. Stay tuned for future content. I upload every Wednesday. Yes? When am I upload days? Wednesdays and Sundays. You guys are having a fantastic week. You're enjoying everything you are reading, and there are no reading slumps in your future, and I will see you for my next video. Bye guys.